it is our final hour. Makes me sad. But, you know what makes me not sad? Olin Buchanan. He is with the Go Hour. He's with TexAgs.com, TexAgs, and he hangs out with us Tuesdays, 1 o'clock inside the Charles Schwab studio. What's up, brother?
You know what I say usually when you ask me, just another day in the paradise that is College Station, Texas. You know, one of the things I've been noticing, though, I'm sure you'll like this, on like social media, there's some guys who have a Texas University podcast, and they're actually ridiculing A&M fans for going, you know, to still wanting to go to the game up until, I'm talking about Sunday, up until they canceled it.
Yeah.
Like, don't they have anything better to do? And people are bringing their children up there. Don't they know their kids have school? And I'm like, to me, that just shows you how great, how much loyalty Texas A&M fans have, and how great it is to support this program.
You know, Olin, when you get swept, you don't have anything else to talk about.
That's
if you
true.
do a Texas podcast. You can't take shots. You can't make funny. You can't pull scoreboard. So, okay, if I'm doing a Texas podcast, what am I going to say to try and pull we're superior, or just to be a smart aleck, right?
You know,
I'm going to go after fans who spent 8-9 hours in the stand, in the rain delay, supporting their team.
Yeah.
That's the best they got. Oh, and what's left for them? I'm asking you, what's left?
Well, you know, I would think that if I'm doing a podcast, and maybe someday I will, but I would think if I'm going to do a podcast and my team had just lost, you know, got swept, lost 2 games to its bitter rival, I would discuss, hey, what does my team have to do to get better? Why did this happen? You know, I might even say, you know, look, every pitcher is going to have a bad game every now and then, and, you know, our guy had a bad. But the last thing that would occur to me would be to attack a fan base for actually supporting their team.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong.
But it is Texas.
In the Longhorn universe, a delusional one, they never got beat. Didn't they get screwed somehow? There's the Longhorn world. They didn't lose to A&M. They got some, you know, it was untoward somehow.
Yeah, I don't know how you can. I think the excuse.
There's always an excuse.
The excuse for
They've
losing.
never lost a game because they sucked. They never lost a game because the other team was better. In the Longhorn world, someone always did them wrong.
I think the excuse for the Saturday loss was they think that the umpire missed a third strike call on Terrence Keel because from their angle, of course, it was a strike. Well, and Terrence waited to see what the umpire was going to call, which I always think is smart. How many times do you see a guy act like he's, I know that's ball 4, and he starts running to first base, and the umpire calls him back? And I think it's because at least sometimes the umpire's like, yeah, it's close, but since you're making the call for me, I'm going to call it the other way.
Oh, the umpire goes, I'll handle this.
Right. So anyway, and they're saying, well, if A&M doesn't get that call, then, you know, the inning's over. But by then, I believe the Aggies were already up 4-1. So they get 3 more runs in the inning. So the way I come up with that is the final score is, 12-4? So if they call Keel out, okay, so you don't get the I guess Grahovic's 3-run double or something like that, and then the home run or the double from Sorrell to bring in Grahovic. So that's 4 runs. So the way I look at it is, then A&M only wins 7-4. All right. So even there, you know, that's what their coping mechanism. We should have lost 7-4 instead of 11-4.
I feel like a lot of demons. I said this yesterday, but a lot of demons were exercised this weekend, and I think, on a meta level, I think Aggies were tired of losing to the Longhorns in every sport. I think on a personal level, a lot of Aggies were hurt by how the slosh thing went down.
Of course.
I think if you're an Aggie baseball fan only, You got the high point. You got the moment of the Michael Early era after last year. So there was many meta, micro, macro levels to what happened this weekend. I don't think there was any one thing. I think it was everything.
Well, yeah. I think beside from the wins, of course, the greatest thing that I saw or heard,
the greatest love of all,
this weekend or last weekend, was the way the fans. I don't want to call them 12th man because now it's baseball.
So they'd be the 11th man because you have the 9 starters and the pitcher. So they're the 11th man.
Yeah. So, but how the A&M population reacted to
we know the 12th
Schlostegel.
man is the fans. You can say 12th man.
Yeah. But anyway, do you remember, something? Do you remember when they were talking about when they're rebuilding Kyle Field, when they're remodeling it, renovating it, and someone had this great idea to say, we're going to have 12 seats reserved that nobody can sit in for the 12th man. And I remember thinking, and I think it might have been like the old chancellor or somebody like that. I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking, if you're going to do that, it's one seat.
It's not 12 people. It's not 12 men. Right? Well, no, it's not 12 men. We're not the 12 men. It's a 12th man, right?
If you want to have a jury, okay. But anyway, I got sidetracked. Anyway, look, I was so glad that I love the booing and how loud it was. I'm glad they brought booing, and I look, I'm not an Aggie. Didn't go to A&M. Wish I did. Probably couldn't have gotten in. But I just don't get the hissing. I don't get the horse laugh. I don't get it. Maybe it's not for me to get. But I sure enjoyed the fact that I was watching that game on television because, my niece, it was ring day, she got her ring. And so we were out, doing that stuff, celebrating, turned the game on. And I'm sure it was only, it couldn't come on TV close to capturing what the atmosphere was like. But even off of TV, it was so loud and just, you could feel the venom. And I loved it. I wanted to, I wanted 10,000 copperheads in that stadium, all wanting to take a bite or strike Schlossnagel.
How is booing intimidating? Because everyone boos at every stadium.
Right.
If a player's not used to being booed, he's just thin-skinned. Booing is not distinctive in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, but
everybody gets booed.
Right, but I think you can.
You spent your whole career being booed.
You can raise it to another level.
Booing?
Yeah, just
everybody gets booed.
Well, I know, but you know what? Are you going to tell me that Texas didn't get rattled?
No, they did. I don't think it was the booing. Booing is common. Booing is normal.
I don't know. Then why were they rattled?
Ball 4, ball.
Well, see, that's all part of the
ball 5, ball 6.
I think it all goes into it. I think that's all.
I don't think booing had anything.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I just love the atmosphere.
Oh no!
I wish I could have been there.
There you go. I'm with you 1,000,000%, man. Look, that's one of the greatest. This weekend was one of the greatest A&M atmospheres.
And they chant especially when he's in trouble. They chant the pitcher's name. I saw somebody. I couldn't tell you who it was, but I guess he's a national baseball writer for college baseball, I guess, and apparently was making his first trip to College Station for that game. And he was, I could find it, but it was on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. And he was saying that it was the greatest baseball environment in college. Greatest environment in college baseball was at Texas Bluebell Park. No debate.
Couple of text messages.
Okay.
Cody, Dylan, Tabor, with a correction. The 12 seats were in memory of Bonfire.
Nope, that's wrong.
Okay,
that is absolutely wrong. I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead.
I know what you said. That's not true. Because I've made that statement before, and someone tried to correct me on it. I went back and I found the article, and no, that's absolutely no true. That's a great idea if they were going to do it, but no, that is not. No, never was. Maybe later somebody tried to do a little spin, but no, it was that. Hey, we're going to have 12th man for the 12th man, not for no, it's not true.
Okay, I'm just telling you.
And I'm just telling you that's not true.
Okay, I did not know of this. This is your story, and again, I did not. I'm still just baffled that they would do 12 seats for the 12th man.
Yeah. Because I remember we were talking about, well, it was me and Gabe at the time. Said, well, it's singular. It's singular, not so. And if besides that, if they were going to do it for the memory of the 12 bonfire victims, then why didn't they? If somebody said, "Hey, we should do this," you mean somebody was going to stand up and say, "Oh no, that's a bad idea."
All right, I trust you on this one because I know you go back and look.
Well, like I said, I was once said that, and somebody corrected me, and so I went back and re-found the story and everything. No, that was not what it was about.
Fair enough. Back to you were saying.
You were saying you had a couple of text messages.
That was it.
That
what
was
were
the
you saying
only
before
one.
that?
We were just talking about how great the atmosphere was.
Yeah, it was great. And you know what? There's a lot of people that are really on board with the booing. I'm not anti or pro. I have come to accept that things are evolving and changing in Aggieland, and I've never been one that's stuck on tradition because I feel like being stuck on tradition held A&M back for so long in so many ways that they didn't move with the time. So if booing's the new thing, go for it. I don't care.
There's like three.
I'm not going to lose sleep.
There's like three traditions here. A&M, again, I wish I'd gone there. But even if I had gone to A&M, I think there's three traditions that I would have say, it's probably better if you moved along. And the horse laugh, I remember the first time I was here in 93 and the horse laugh, I'm like, well, what are they doing? What? And then somebody explained it to me. I went, oh, okay, interesting. So that one, there are other traditions that have been altered. So it's not like suggesting that you should change something is like necessarily like unheard of. Like it used to be all the reveillees were buried inside the stadium so they could see the scoreboard. And now, they still got the scoreboard, but they brought them out of the stadium because suddenly it wasn't convenient, right? And it used to be the core was the I guess the security at Kyle Field, and then some
overzealous.
There was some overzealousness, and so that changed. But for instance, now this will get me in all kinds of trouble.
Oh, go for it. Oh, okay. You don't have to. Whoa. I want nothing to do with it.
There's something
I get
about
myself in trouble.
Yeah, there's something about the one. Hey, squeeze eggs. You know what I'm talking about? I don't really get that one. And then look, if it's up to me, I know this. Everybody's gonna hate me for saying this. I don't have a problem with the yell leaders. Why can't you have cheerleaders and yell leaders? Why can't you have both?
Traditions don't have to make sense.
But there was a tradition. There was a time when the tradition.
Something.
There was a time when the tradition was there was no women, but now there are women. So why?
Again, I have no trouble
and I
with
would
things
think
that are
they
changing and modern. If they introduce cheerleaders, I'm not jumping off the top of the Crystal Park Plaza.
I'm just saying, have both.
I'm pro hot women. I have no trouble with cheerleaders.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, So I started off by praising all the fans and how great the atmosphere was. And look, let's face it, it's always great. They just took it to another level.
A lot of emotions were in play this weekend, and the 12th man tapped into them.
Yes. But
11th man?
The 11th man, whatever you want to call them now. But just because I feel like I should be able to disagree with some other things as well. I can agree.
Look, it's America and it's the Louie Belina Show. You're allowed to have your own opinion.
And America starts with A&M.
Ooh, there's no end, just AM. Yeah.
What's it? A&M. A&M. That's how America starts.
That's patriotic and maroon and white at the same time.
I use that all the time.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
I haven't used it before. I'll probably steal it and not give you credit, though.
Usually I do a lot of podcasts, and that's how and always, you can follow me at this, and you can follow TexAgs at this, and remember, really? America starts with A&M. So that's my sign off.
Why am I hearing the anthem play in the background right now?
It should.
That's
or
so
the
beautiful.
Hawaiian.
Both not at the same time.
Yeah.
979-693-1150. You can text and hopefully, be right when you correct Olin. 979-693-1150. You can light up the Texas Mobile One Lube Express inbox. Texas Mobile One Lube Express, where they say, hey, be good to your car, and your car will be good to you. How does one be good to your car? Well, you take it to Texas Mobile and Lube Express. We'll grab a timeout. We'll come back. The conversation is so just beginning. It's the Louie Belina Show, Tuesday on the Zone.
Your home for Texas A&M baseball is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
The Louie Belina Show, hanging out with OB, as some call him. I just call him Olin. I don't need to shorten it that much. I took 2 whole letters off of it. Inside the Charles Schwab studio on a Tuesday, because Tuesday's the day we hang out. Low cost, full service. Best of all local, Schwab, Charles Schwab. How's it best of all local? Sim, Mark Sim, kind of like Bond, James Bond. Mark Sim in College Station. You get to experience a modern approach to wealth management. Find Mark online at schwab.com/College Station. Charles Schwab and Company Incorporated, member SIPC. Back to Aggie Baseball for just a moment. There's other things we could talk about in the world, but taking away all the emotion and everything, let's go with the facts of it all. They're second place in the SEC, if I'm not mistaken.
Tied for second.
But don't they have the head-to-head with Texas?
Yes, right.
So, tiebreaker.
I was really hoping that they'd be able to play Sunday because I thought it was like a no-lose situation. I wanted them to play because if they'd won, they'd be 1 game behind Georgia.
Not a game and a half.
Right.
But they're tied with Texas, but head-to-head. Bam, I'm second.
And 2 games behind really would have mattered different. But if you're 1 game back, and remember, talk about head-to-head, Georgia has the head-to-head on A&M. But I thought if you could have got that game in and swept Texas, that would have been sexy anyway. But then if you're just 1 game back. But, hey, maybe I was saying this earlier this week, which would have, I guess, been Monday because it's only Tuesday.
Wow.
A&M just
deductive logic.
Yeah, A&M just beat the Wicked Witch of the West, Texas. And now, this week, they go and play the Wicked Witch of the East, LSU. What if they are able to go out, and I never predict a sweep, especially on the road, but what if they're able to go out and sweep LSU? What if it just happens? And at the same time, what if Arkansas won its upcoming series against Georgia in Fayetteville? Not out of the question. The Aggies could next Monday be in first place, which is just to even think of that as being although a long shot, that's possible is somewhat amazing considering the start they got. They were 2-4 in SEC play. So, hey, maybe it'll happen.
You move faster than me. Just win every series left. How about and that's asking for too much. There's 5 series left, right? Mm-hmm. And they're facing, of the 4 teams, 3 were top 10 at one point this year or preseason.
Right.
Where they are now, Mississippi State sliding out of the top 10 because they've been swept in back-to-back series. But at one point, they were like 3 in the country. LSU is starting to work their way back into form, but they slid out of form. Yeah, Florida is ranked anywhere from 5 to 20, depending on what poll you look at. Okay? So, but that's their schedule.
Is that who A&M has? They've got Florida, Mississippi State, LSU,
and LSU.
Ole Miss, and
5.
Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn. And Auburn's been ranked as high as 3 and 5 and 6 and 8. So, there's been a large fluctuation in the SEC with teams trying to hold their rank once they've had it. But of the 5 left, 3 or 4 have been top 10 at one point.
Well, Florida just won the series at Georgia, right? So
yes.
It's not going to be easy. No one ever says it's going to be easy.
I don't know. So, like I said, for me, I don't know if I've meta goals yet. Just win every series left. I dare you. Go for it. I dare you, Aggie Baseball. And you know what? They'll host a super regional.
Yeah, they will. They will.
Just take 2 out of 3, man, and then you'll host a super. You'll be a top 8 super seed, and life will be good.
Well, I don't want to supersede your expectations to supersede.
It's not an expectation; it's a hope.
Yeah, it is. The pitching's starting to come around. So if the pitching continues to improve, I think anything's possible with this team. Not just possible. Probable with this team if their pitching continues to improve. I thought Sadeo went out there and pitched had a good strong performance, and then A&M used 4 pitchers in 2 games, right? That's almost unheard of. And Texas used more than that. You used 6 in the first game, if I'm not mistaken. So the pitching they got from Sadeo and Fresh Corn, and then Smith and Garrett.
Gavin Lyons.
Gavin Lyons. Yeah, I mean,
Lyons was the key.
Yeah,
Lyons,
he was excellent.
Because Sims, look, he had to deal with the weather and all that. It made it a little bit tricky-ish, and Lyons didn't as much, but the Sims start was not that good.
It wasn't bad. I mean,
No, but it wasn't that good.
but here's my thoughts on that.
Lyons was money, man.
He was excellent. With A&M's lineup, and I'm talking about their batting order, you don't have to have great pitching.
Correct.
You have to have good pitching, solid pitching. And they got solid pitching performances from some guys and great pitching performances from others. And good to great. So what we saw in those 2 games against Texas, and really against Vanderbilt and some other, is if they can get solid pitching, you're probably going to win.
I agree with that statement.
I'm not even asking for great pitching.
I agree. Solid. I agree with that. It's lowering the expectation because normally you want good. You don't even need good. Solid is the right word.
Because they can score some runs.
You know, I went in Friday. You probably weren't listening to my show. You were eating or sleeping.
Well,
or
you know
something.
I'm always listening.
Yeah, right. And I just kept saying this was the final exam for this hitting for the offense, and it's just because we know this is a mash and bash and an elite level offense, but they hadn't faced a pitching staff like this. So, this level of test yet, and A++. I thought they'd get 6 runs, which on a pitching staff coming in with their ERA and everything, 6 runs is actually a great weekend. No, my bad. It's only 2 games, but they average 10 runs a game. I mean, that's the part where I went, oh, didn't expect that. It was an incredible performance by the offense.
And I think the only place they can get better, and they did some of this, or there's all kinds of places you can get better, but I think they seem to be a little more selective on the pitches they swung at. I think A&M, you see them strike out a lot, especially last year, and they take some hacks that you're like, why are you swinging at that? And don't typically work the count the last 2 years, but they were working the count better. And I'm just saying, I like seeing them being a little more patient at the plate because. There's no doubt what they're capable of. So, as they, like Texas in that first game, especially, they started walking guys, and A&M was able to take advantage of that. But why were they walking guys? Was it because the pitcher was a little rattled? Was it because he's seen the way A&M can hit, and so now he's trying to paint corners because he knows that if he leaves one over the plate, it's probably going over the fence. So he's trying to paint corners and not getting it?
Yes, absolutely.
But they weren't chasing those off the corners either.
The pitchers are scared to get any part of the plate. And if the hitters realize that, you don't have to chase.
No.
And the opposing pitchers are scared to death of the plate with the Aggie hitters up there.
Yeah. But I'll ask you. So I was asking Nuno this morning. I said, okay, we're halfway through the SEC schedule. So at the halfway point, who on A&M's team would you project to be all conference?
Caden Sorrell.
Okay. Anybody else?
Oh, tons.
Who?
I got to give you all of them?
Well, I'm just saying, who would you project to be?
Grahovic.
Okay. So 2 of them?
Okay. I wish I had the whole lineup with me.
Well, Partita, Dewar, Hakopian, Wilson.
And you're counting third team too?
Huh?
You count third team and all that? Because this is where it gets tricky for me. Because, on the Louie Belina Show, we only do first and second team.
All right, first and second.
Because third team's like honorable mention.
Okay, first and second.
1, 2, 3. Grahovic, Sorrell, Partita, yes. Harkopian, is he?
I don't think so.
Because in the SEC, we got to remember that the numbers are so freaking elite that you might be a third team All-American and not make All SEC.
He's been in somewhat of a slump lately.
Right, I know. That's why I'm like,
I think his
It's
batting
tough
average
to get
went
first
from,
or second team all SEC. You almost have to be all American.
And there's 16 teams, and almost all of them play good baseball.
None of the pitchers, Aiden Sims maybe, but none of the pitchers will make all SEC. First or second.
Unless Freshcorn backed in as a reliever with.
Yeah, maybe.
I would say
One pitcher total?
Sorrell and Grahovic for sure.
Right.
Without a doubt.
Those are easy.
And I wonder, I can't tell you what all the third basemen are in the SEC, what they're like, but I would think the very least Partita would be freshman of the year if they have one.
There you go.
Or
they
newcomer
have
of the
to,
year.
don't they?
I would think. Or newcomer.
So that's an award.
Maybe
It's
they'll
not
call
all
it
team,
newcomer. But yeah, he's been amazing.
So 3?
Yeah, I would think so. Well, and that's fine. I mean, that's a third of your order.
I'm not arguing with
Yeah,
you.
I mean,
When you asked me, my reaction is, and that's why once you get to third team, and they usually put like 20 people on there, it gets a little trickier. So,
but again, we say that. I say maybe 3, but then you got to start thinking about, well, there's some guys at Georgia that have put up some huge numbers, and there's some guys that at Texas that's going to be acknowledged, and everybody has some good players. So I think that'll be really interesting to see what happens. And of course, you're only halfway through; the job's not done.
So we have 3 men. That's what we have. 3 men, because Partita will get some award, even if it's not all team, but he'll get some award, and then Grahovic and Sorrell are no-brainers.
Well, I would think, yeah, for sure. I would think Grahovic and Sorrell are no-brainers, and I would think
there's time with 5 games left. It's only half the conference
only
schedule.
halfway.
There's time for another 2 players to push their way into the all awards.
Be.
All SEC teams at the end of the year. There's time.
All right.
But at the mid-mark.
They're only midway, only half.
Okay.
But you know what? In football season, they have those mid-season All-Americans and things like that.
All right, mid-season questions for you then.
Okay.
Who's the most valuable player?
For the Aggies, baseball, I would say
Missouri. Who else am I asking you about?
I would say
Jeez.
Well, I thought maybe you meant like the SEC.
No.
Okay, I would say, in my mind, Caden Sorrell. Grahovic's been crazy hot the last 2 or 3 weeks, but I think Sorrell just been consistently excellent. Isn't he batting about 380? I mean, maybe he's down to 370. Maybe he's down.
Is it 17 dingers? Isn't he like in the top 10 in the country?
Yeah, so he's and they played, 34 games? He got 17 home runs? White Oak, that tells me it's won every other game.
It's just White Oak math.
That's right.
He's just absolutely. It's interesting.
And by the way he now Grahovic had a hell of a play at first base to dig out a short throw that, had he not made it, maybe Texas gets some momentum going. Something happens, and one of those games gets kind of dicey. But when I see a ball hit out to center field, I don't care where it is. I'm assuming Sorrell's catching it. He may be diving. He may be leaping. Now, sometimes he's not going to get them all, but it feels like he's going to, because I've seen him take them away from, over the fence. And so I would say when you took the combination of Sorrell's glove and bat, I know I'm biased, but I can't imagine him not being. Well, he could be SEC Player of the Year.
He has to be in the running, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Georgia. Who's their guy that has like the 50 home runs or whatever?
I don't know. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago they had a guy that led the nation, but Charlie somebody, I've already forgotten his name.
Charlie Hustle.
Yeah,
we'll take a timeout.
Charlie
We'll
Hustle.
come back. Olin Buchanan inside the Charles Schwab studio.
For Pete's sake.
It's a Tuesday thing here on the Louie Belina Show. Louie Belina Show presented by CC Electric. Residential, commercial, and industrial services. It's what they do at CC Electric.
Pumping sunshine or drinking haterade. It's never boring.
Are you ready?
The Louie Belina Show. 11 to 2 on the Zone.
It is the Louie Belina Show, and it is Tuesday. That means we got more Old B. Don't forget, though, still to come, 150. Community Spotlight, Aggieland Humane Society. Community Spotlight, Aggieland Humane Society. That's how we'll end Tuesday here on the Louie Belina Show. Presented by CC Electric. Olin, some Aggie football. It's spring football. How pumped are you for Saturday? I mean, they're going to have $6 beer. They're going to have a Legends game. There's going to be a kick for $50,000. Are you doing the kick?
No.
Okay.
I'd have to be practicing a lot if I was
Practice.
practice. Let's talk about practice. Typically, I find spring games to be tedious and boring and unnecessary.
Huh.
Now, Mike Elko, and only his vote counts, feels like it's important for as much as anything as a reward for going through spring practice, and you get to play a game because that's the fun part, right? So
Right.
I get it. And with all the guys that come in through the portal, maybe it's best to see them play in a game-like situations as much as possible.
First
right?
time at Kyle Field.
Right. But like last year, for instance, Marco Jones had like 5 sacks in the game, or is credited with 5 sacks. You don't get to hit the quarterback. So he had credited with 5 sacks last year. What do you have? I couldn't even tell you how many he had all of last season, but I know it's less than 5. It might have been 1.
So it wasn't 16.
So I just think that the spring, I always say it's like walking through the desert and you don't know, am I seeing a mirage or am I seeing an oasis? And then even if I see a good play, if I see Isaiah Horton go up and pull down a 40-yard touchdown pass on a 50-50 ball, I'm like, hey, look what Isaiah Horton is. Or do I say, man, why can't they cover him?
I've always felt like with these things, accuracy doesn't matter if you're throwing against the air. Accuracy is something you can judge. I feel like quarterback. It doesn't matter your opponent.
Right, but quarterback is so much different when you know that you can't get hit.
Correct. That's why if you're inaccurate in a spring game, you're an inaccurate quarterback.
Well, but if you're at a place like Texas A&M or any Southeast Conference team or any Power 4 program for that matter, and you can't throw accurately under no duress, you shouldn't be in.
Thank you.
You shouldn't be here. So
You can tell hands if you're dropping balls in a spring game. You have bad hands.
Well, okay,
it's very basic stuff, but that's almost the point. You can't tell a lot from a spring game, but there's just certain fundamentals.
Yeah, again, I've seen so many times in spring games where some guy was the
Spring game all-star
and never heard from him again.
Well, in high school, we call them the practice heroes or whatever, and
so I just don't know what. And like I remember a couple
Scout
years
team
ago,
All-Americans.
Nick Scorton came in, and he was dominant, and he was in the backfield the whole game. Yeah, but what was that long-haired kid from the Dallas area? Hunter Herb was the guy trying to block him. Well, Hunter Herb's no longer here. Hunter Herb couldn't block anybody.
But Nick Scorton was able to translate to a degree.
To a certain degree.
And you mentioned how Marco Jones didn't yet. Hopefully he will this year.
And part of that, had he not been playing behind the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, he would have had more opportunities.
Correct. And this year he'll have all the opportunity he needs.
He will.
And hopefully he gets his double-digit sack on.
But here, I'll give you the bottom line for me is with every snap, I'm kind of holding my breath, just hoping nobody gets hurt. And if you get through the spring game and then you say, okay, there was no major injuries throughout the spring, because I don't think there's been any that they went into the spring. Not like Ashton Bethel Roman, he got banged up, but I don't think that's going to keep him out long term or anything. But Bussy, as long as there's not a major injury, you get through the spring, you're like, okay, whew, made it. To me, the spring game is the last step through the minefield.
You mentioned Bussy, so you made me think of the wide receiving core. And I think that Horton, Craver, and Ashton Bethel Roman picking up where he left off last year could end up being the greatest wide receiving core in the history of A&M.
No.
No?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm going to say Ryan Swope, Mike Evans, I can't think of his first name, Nwachuku, Malcolm Kennedy, those. I mean, I would start with Mike Evans and Ryan Swope together and then for anybody else.
Horton and Craver.
Mike Evans.
No. Do you think I'm dissing Mike Evans? Like I'm trying to take shots at them?
I'm just saying. And Swope would have played in the NFL, I believe, for 10 years, if not for the concussions.
Yeah.
I think those are the. I think Mike Evans is the most talented receiver ever at A&M, and Ryan Swope had the greatest 4-year career at A&M for a receiver. And you had them together.
I think the potential of the wide receiving core this year is insane.
Well,
last year, if Kramer would have stayed healthy the whole year.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of it is quarterback dependent. I thought last year with some quarterback play, they were underutilized to an extent. But
I think that
allegedly the offensive game will be passing game should be upgraded with Holman Wiggins.
We'll see.
Oh yeah, we'll see.
We're saying upgraded, and they could be upgraded with Horton because you have a big receiver that you didn't have, but you don't have Casey Concepcion.
True. And he was a bad man. I loved watching him play.
I thought you were going to say could be the best receiving core in the FCC. And I was going to say, I don't know if they're going to be the best, but I think they'll be in the discussion.
I just like their potential, man.
Oh, I do too. And by the way, if you ever go out to practice, I know you can't because of the job, but this freshman, Aaron Gregory, and another one named Madden Williams, I'm going to tell you right now, Gregory's going to play. And he's going to make some big catches for you. That guy is, and he's a big receiver too. And that kid, he could be really special. I mean, keep that guy around for 3 to 4 years.
Aaron Gregory.
Yeah. He's from Georgia, I think. I think he's a 5-star guy. But anyway, that guy's he's an exciting football player.
All right, I'm on board with this. I love the wide receiving core a lot.
I think you're going to continue to love it. And quite frankly.
And when they end up the greatest, you'll come back here and apologize to me.
Okay. Gladly. If I have this year, if the Aggies have a receiving core that's better than Ryan Swope and Mike Evans and Easy Nwachuku and Kenrick McNeil and Malcolm Kennedy.
Olin's so not on board with this.
Then I'll gladly say, hey, Lou, you were right, and I'm glad you were because look at the season that A&M had.
We're almost out of time, but I wanted to hit you with this. I think it was this morning. I'm pretty sure it was released this morning, but ESPN.com, Mark Schlabach did his way too early. Because, the night after the national championship is way.
Right.
And then when spring football starts, we get way. Uh-huh. And then when you do we've got portal, spring, and summer's about to start, that's way.
Yeah.
In August, it's just the poll, right?
So it's way.
And now it's way. A&M's 10. Too high, too low, you're good with it.
You know what? I would say too high, meaning I wouldn't put them in the top 10 yet because all right, the first two things I look for in ranking a team is my quarterback, okay, check that box, and my offensive line. I don't know. Now, am I doubting Adam Cushing's ability to put out a good offensive line? Not it'll be good, but how good? And then I guess the third part of that is there's a lot of changes on defense. And are you going to be able to mount a similar pass rush? Are you going to finally get some interceptions? And
I heard you talking about that the other day.
By the way, they had 3 and only 1 by a defensive back.
And you basically said it's unacceptable. And I'm kind of 100% on board. I
mean, they still won 11 games. Imagine if they were.
But how can you only have 3? And we've seen drops.
Oh yeah,
we see drops. We know why they're not wide receivers.
And then, but still, what's the greatest number one priority that you got to take care of as a defense?
Big play, stop them.
Big run.
Just all big plays.
So all those things, I gotta see a good offensive line, and I gotta see some improvement in the defense, but and some maintaining a pass rush. But maybe Mark knows something that I don't. Maybe he knows more about Antosaka and more about,
Gibson.
Ricky Gibson or somebody.
I hope he's as good as like some of the hype and the scouting reports I've seen. He could be an answer to some of these things you're talking about.
I agree. So
DBs have to be better against the run. Is that him? And they need to make picks. Is that him?
Yeah. And A&M's got to be better in the kicking game. Do you know A&M was dead last in the SEC in field goal percentage last year?
That's shocking to no one.
Right. But it's still, so you got to be better there. I think they're going to be better. That kid, I haven't seen him all spring, David Olano from Illinois, but he has a career, not one season, a career success rate of 86%.
So just do your career average and we're good.
Yeah, we'll take that right now.
We're not asking for a lot more. Olin, thank you so much.
We'll see you.
If people need more Olin, I don't know why, what's wrong with you, but if you do, mornings 8 to 9 a.m., it's called the Go Hour, part of TexAgs Live. Thank you, brother.
You bet.
Be awesome. Up next, when we return, 3 minutes from now, Community Spotlight with Aggieland Humane Society.
Can't reach your radio? Listen to Aggie Baseball online at radioaggieland.com.
The Louie Belina Show, Tuesday edition. I'm inside the Charles Schwab studio. And Tuesdays, we wrap things up with the Community Spotlight. This Tuesday, Katrina with Aggieland Humane Society joining me inside the Charles Schwab studio. How you doing?
Doing pretty great. Thanks for having me.
It's awesome. It's been a second.
Yes, it's been a minute since I've been here. You know, I've had a lot of things going on. We've had some folks fill in, but I'm happy to be
awesome.
back. Yes.
You are not alone. You have this absolute beautiful kitten with you.
I have the cutest kitten. This little 4-month-old baby kitten, his name is Smokey, and he is a classic blue gray kitten. Like when you think of a cat that should be on a food bag or on a poster, it's this beautiful little kitten.
Beautiful eyes, the fur, just the ears. I mean, this is just like, I mean, all the sounds you can make when you see a beautiful cat. This is amazing. Smokey is like, kind of like our mascot of the day. This is so cute. This is ridiculous.
So stinking cute. And Smokey, actually, right before we're leaving, Smokey has an adoption lined up, which is amazing. We love that. But we know that right now we don't have a lot of kittens, but in just a couple of weeks, we will have so many cats and kittens.
You told me it was kitten season.
Yes.
Season.
It's an actual season that we have in animal welfare where we see all sorts of baby animals, but especially puppies and kittens come in. And so for us, what that means is we need kitten fosters to be on standby. We will have more and more little babies. You know, sometimes they come in and they're only days old and they don't have mom. So we are trying to bolster up our roster right now of kitten fosters and, of course, then kitten adopters, because they've got to go home. We can't keep them in the shelter, and we want cute little babies like Smokey to be matched up with their families so that way they can live their happily ever after.
If people might not be familiar with the foster concept and, you know, foster adopting animal rescues. The way it works is that you would foster animals, kittens, dogs, if you prefer, and they would stay with you. You're not permanently keeping them, but you're giving them a home, a place to stay. And it allows Aggieland Humane Society to give them a place that they can be loved, a place they can be kept until a permanent home is found. And I believe you'll cover the cost, you give them the food, you're handing the medical. So for you, the individual, all you have to do is play with them, love them, and give them a place to hang out.
Truly, the investment on your part as a foster is your time and your space. Aggieland Humane Society, we provide everything from the medical support, food, if you need a crate, leashes, whatever it might be. Even that community support will get you connected with other fosters in the area. So that way you're not in it alone. There's a network, and that way we can all save lives together.
Now, if someone's interested in fostering, whether it's kitten season coming up, but they're like, dogs, I'm down with that. Where do they go?
AggielandHumane.org. Do the foster application, and we'll get you matched up with whoever you're looking for.
AggielandHumane.org. If you're interested in being a foster, and trust me, they can use fosters year-round, not just kitten season. AggielandHumane.org. Tonight, you've got a pretty big free microchip event going on.
Yes. Tonight's the night. We are doing free vaccines, free microchips, and free pet food from 5 to 7 p.m. out at the Brazos Center. It's going to be a big event. We are expecting a lot of people. We're anticipating about 500 dogs and cats to come through the line. And so we are looking forward to seeing everyone.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot, but it's a really great opportunity because if your pet's not microchipped, we can't get them back home to you if they don't have that chip. Or if your pet doesn't have their vaccines, well, we can help prevent contagious disease and prevent zoonotic disease by providing this free vaccine opportunity.
Free microchip, free vaccine, free animal food.
Yes.
Dog, cat, free pet food.
Absolutely.
And it's at the Brazos Center?
Yes. So behind the Bryan Target, you'll see our Aggieland Humane fleet. We're bringing out all of our vehicles for this. And our friends over at the Brazos County Sheriff's Department, they're going to have some deputies out to help direct traffic. So when you see, you'll see it. You'll know you're there. You'll see lots of folks out, smiling faces, ready to help you and your pets. We ask that all dogs arrive on a leash and all cats are in a carrier. And we just ask that you bring your patients, because we have
Big
some,
line.
we know that there's going to be a line. We have a lot of tools to go through this line very quickly, but we just ask that you bring your patients.
5 to 7 p.m. tonight, free microchip, free vaccine, free dog food, free cat food, free pet food. And you can go to aggielandhumane.org for more info on the event tonight if you're interested in fostering. Katrina, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
That's our community spotlight with Aggieland Humane Society. I am back tomorrow. This has been the Louie Belina Show presented by CC Electric. Have an amazing Tuesday, everybody.
Your home for TexAgs Live, the Louie Belina Show, and Chip Howard Sports Talk is the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Listen on the Zone app or online at radioaggieland.com or tell Alexa, play Zone 1150.
Play Zone 1150.
Listen live on your phone, smart speaker, computer, or the Zone app. Powered by Loyalty Plumbing, where craftsmanship and loyalty is their business. Visit loyaltyplumbingllc.net. Take the Zone and your favorite teams and shows with you wherever you go.